Welcome to the World Junior Ultimate Championships 2024 here in Birmingham at the Moor Lane Sports Complex in the UK. It is an absolute scintillator. We are rolling towards the final. The crowds and the clouds are gathering. A storm is brewing as we head into a rematch from last time's world title between the USA women and the French women. Myself, Hannah Pendlebury, on the call alongside Georgina Morrison this fine, rather chilly afternoon here in England.
Yeah, it's quite breezy, but it's not something that we weren't expecting here in the UK summertime, but you can feel the atmosphere is buzzing here. There are fans that are circulating around the entire pitch. There's some nervous apprehension as well from both teams, but what a match that we've got here. I'm so excited. This is going to be a rematch from earlier on in the tournament. But yesterday we saw the USA take down Canada 15-7 and France take down Italy 13-10. And then moving on to the bronze medal match where Canada lost to Italy.
Well, in terms of how they got there here, the USA, as you already mentioned, Gigi, a pretty smooth cruise through their semi-finals. Of course, with these youth athletes, it's all about refinement, and they found excellent poise against the Canadian side, who, as you said, were unlucky to have their fortunes reversed from the last joint junior ultimate championships. The Italian women, though, very strong indeed, and were certainly fine opponents for the French side of things. So we knew coming into semis we were guaranteed a European team, and look at this, just great offense against the zone.
You can tell that they have solid cohesion. They've played together a fair amount, both as junior team members, but also across various club teams throughout France. They were able to show some clinical prowess, and they're bringing that excitement into this final today. I am honestly struggling to be able to predict what this game is going to look like, but I know that one of the stalwarts for this USA side is going to be Chloe Hakimi.
Well, no stranger to a world championship, of course, was part of that JJUC squad last year, but also it was the under-24s division that she managed to extend as well into getting double. So will it be a third title 3 years on the road for Chloe Hakimi?
You're racking up the stats, 21 assists and 10 goals. Very impressive as an athlete, still only 17 years old, so probably has at least another cycle in her in the junior division at least, but is already looking and setting her sights to the senior line.
On the other side of things, Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre, who absolutely dominates in the handler spaces, playing her club ultimate this season for Yaka, of course, one of the elite women's programs here in Europe, based in Noisy-le-Sec. But Lacoste-Lefebvre really just such a key part, and another one of these returners from last time's final.
Some beautiful throws. Definitely has the receivers underneath it for her. A lot of trust throughout this team. But you can tell that a lot of her teammates look towards her, almost as like a linchpin for the team to try and get some momentum moving. Of course, there are a few throughout the team, but Lacoste-Lefebvre has been, at least when you look at the numbers, somebody to stand out, but also somebody that I'm sure that the USA will look to shut down.
Well, the wind conditions are relatively still compared to the rest of the week, Gigi. As you said, these two teams have already met in the pool stages here at the Joint Juniors 24, and that was definitely a game dominated by a steady breeze.
It certainly was. We spoke to the USA coaches ahead of the game, and they were saying that during that match against France earlier on in the tournament, it was a much more consistent and stronger wind, and the conditions today are much more similar to the rest of the week, so it's hopefully not going to throw any surprises on either side their way. You get a shot of the pitches. You can see all the fans circled around the field, some in the grandstands, most choosing to sit along the sideline for a better view. But phenomenal conditions here in Birmingham. The pitches have just been brilliant.
They really have. Well, the key values, of course, of the USA women's team this time: community, passion and resilience. But for the French, it's all about putting the shovels on the back and trying to dig for the last opportunity at the first French under-20s gold. Of course, this would be a 6th title for the USA women, not in a row in the same level of shutout dominance that the under-20 squad have on the open division, but let's see how this unfolds. The USA starting out on offense. And a little bit of, is this a zone, Gigi?
It's almost like we've predicted it, but what a block! That looked effortless from Chabot.
Well, as I say, lots of this French team hungry for revenge. 7 of them returning. Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre taking a little bit of time to initiate in that Hannah space, but all the way across the bows, finding Camille Blanc, already a world champion on the beach, and that's just going to be easy pickings. A first break out of the block, Zoe Forget with a goal.
They are the kind of clinical throws that we're going to be seeing from this French side. They're not afraid to let the disc sit out for whatever athlete is going to be chasing it down. They're definitely doing this deliberately. They know how much pressure the USA are wanting to put on the back shoulder. If they sit those discs a bit closer to anyone running through, so we can just get another look at that phenomenal block through. But this is what I mean. They're sending the disc further out to ensure that the defense is at least got a few extra yards to gain on the back shoulder and preventing any blocks or run-through Ds.
Well, Zoe Forget, big part of that gold medal win for the French women at the European Youth Ultimate Championship. Of course, there's a massive juniors scene over in the States, and 7 players from the Seven Hills community. 5 of those on that YCC championship winning squad last time out. Chang in the centre pocket, one of the big weapons for this USA squad in the semi-finals, although we had them rested earlier on in the tournament on our live stream. Huang has Hakimi puncturing through the junkie zone. We know that the USA teams have struggled across the board against these zones that the Europeans really like to drill. Certainly the Italian one. Oh, and that's just thrown straight into the jaws of the cup. Body block for Monara. Now can Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre do it again? No strip there, all fair. Just a straight up hand block denial from Chang to get the disc back. Hakimi. Low scoop on the backhand. Changing grips, you can see there's a little bit of fluster here for the USA, conceding that break to start us off, and already there being a turnover. That one just caught between the elbows for Diana Huang. I'm going to have a little chat about it.
Yeah, some fingers pointing down. Huang saying that she received it between the elbows, having one of the game advisors for some extra perspective. Of course, we also have the benefit of the replay.
Yeah. Can you grab the disc like this? Yes. Okay. And touch the before you. Okay. I thought it was like.
Can I ask for like a playback or?
They're working on that. If they think it's going to be clear, they're going to communicate that to us. Please wait here. That's already happening.
Okay.
So teammates on the sideline can look at the review.
The players aren't able to watch a replay being shown on the Ultiworld monitor.
That's difficult.
Okay. Would you like my perspective?
Yes.
From my perspective, you had a trap between your arms before it touched the ground.
Okay.
So, but if you disagree, you can continue on your call. But
Personally, I disagree, but
okay. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to contest the down call.
yeah.
They don't have a clear perspective. Yeah. They didn't find a clear perspective in the time that we need to solve this call.
Understand.
Okay. So it's going to be a contested down call.
Okay.
Down, contest. Let's just going back. Who had it?
That is a difficult call to make.
But I don't see the US communicating that.
It has to be the USA coming in
Does
to
the
give
US agree with this?
the perspective.
Okay.
I didn't have control.
Okay.
Okay, then down.
Okay, no. They've retracted the call. No, they've accepted the call. The turnover stands.
Wonderful spirit.
Well, there we go. We didn't have any of the USA players making it very clear and coming off of the athlete line. But great communication. Well, that's exceptional spirit, allowing the video footage to show just how marginal that was. But of course the USA will back themselves to get it back later on. Camille Blanc, Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre, they are running, I think, some power lines to start us off. Of course, though, plenty of these returning stars for the French women are very big defenders. Good one. Then through to Forget with Monera at the back, just playing that counterpart anchor. Thinks about the inside. Oh, Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre, you absolute demon, but they're going to throw it arcing across. Double breaks to start us off. Wow. Zoe Forget on the back cone.
The stall count on Monera was slowly increasing, and it was making, I think, everyone nervous. But the vision to find Forget in the back corner did have Lacoste-Lefebvre getting free, but possibly didn't actually catch that. It's difficult to keep your eye on every single person, but seeing Forget, phenomenal work.
I mean, that is absolutely sensational. To be able to have that option for Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre, obviously very high in the stall count. It's a much better shot if you're going to put something on about 9 3/4, like the platform for Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, sending it all the way across Abracadabra, and Zoe Forget, of course, underneath it.
We're seeing from France's offense, they're similar in style to the Italian offense. It's generally quite handler-led, so the disc is trying to move in between a weave of cutters closer to the disc, so either somebody from the front of the stack and somebody in the dump space, or generally trying to get a continuation from the back of stack. And that is difficult to slow down from this USA side so far.
Well, we're getting some personnel changes. Certainly that number 23, Bella Russell, the spirit captain for this USA women's side, usually playing defense in the previous matches we've seen as a double team. Just get some readjustments from the zone on the far side. Snyder. No relation, of course, to one of the other world famous Snyders. Alex Snyder now residing in Europe. Pierotti. Then just slinking it through, not happy with the contact. Zaza Gelfand. Just popping through. Collecting a bit of a match mark at points. And this is really solid containment. The USA stuck in this central section of the pitch. The pass tally rising, now 20.
Yeah, we're seeing a slightly different variation of France's zones. They've gone for a 4-person cup with 1 person on the mark. Well, 3-person cup with 1 person on the mark.
Well, when you've got a deep, deep receiver like Zoe Forget, and especially if you can keep the USA O-line out for a long time, have Forget just having to just basically jog at the back. I mean, obviously, it's the mental fortitude, though. Well, there you go. Make the USA throw 27 passes, and you eventually get the spill. That one a lot better, though, than the previous 2 possessions. Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre, high release. That one's going to be tracked down by Zoe Forget. This French women's team really good at owning the deep spaces, and they're going to go straight to them. That is just on a piece of glory. Erel Perez, who's gotten so many blocks throughout this tournament, barely making a puncture on the stats board, now getting big in the final.
This French D-line is leaving no stone unturned. They are willing to absolutely graft and grind until their job is done.
Oh my goodness, well, 3-0 France women leading over the USA. We had a strange joint juniors women's final. The 10-minute point to start things off. I think the French game plan at the moment seems to be just running straight up fire. Some of their best players coming out to start this one off, and they have come to do business.
I'm not surprised that USA are choosing to take a timeout here. That, sensational throw from Forget.
Well, of course, it was all about the comeback last time for the French women. They scored 3 on the bounce to take that final little moment, but just quite couldn't manage it. previous one. Absolute ripper of a backhand.
And this slick offense, obviously not wanting to stay down, having to have a mental switch towards this latter part of the game. Most of the tournament that was remaining was watching this game. They did play this out in the power pools, so USA starting in Pool A, France starting in Pool B, initially seeded first and second respectively, and then moving into Power Pool C. It didn't necessarily affect any results, as in whether they would move into semi-finals or not. They were both guaranteed semi-finals at that point, but it did determine which opponent they were going to be coming up against. So in this circumstance, USA were facing up against Canada, France against Italy.
Well, of course, that 10-4 lead that the French women had in the very, very windy game earlier on. I mean, talk about absolute grit and determination for the USA. They really made those key adjustments. But the mental challenge, of course, it's very difficult to beat the same team twice with an overwhelming comeback like that. So the French women will be delighted with their initial performance, but it's not safe until that final point is closed out. Chloe Hakimi working along with Chang now against another French zone. Maroon to Russell. The cup starts to just flutter away, giving lots of room, trying to clog the lanes, not really putting too much close pressure on the American handler set, just trying to contain them and make them throw as many passes as possible. And the stall count rising all the way up, but of course with no traditional mark, it does give them those extra few seconds of poise. They're sitting back, all quiet. On the North American side of things, oh, that's a huge save. That one almost destined for the ground. Monahan with the layout. Yup, through to Russell. Got to think she likes the look of those big around backhand. Snyder waiting on the cone. Oh, that's going to be perfect timing. Well, great spacing from the USA women, and at long last found themselves on an island there, but Grace Maroon pulls the ship around.
Whatever was discussed in that timeout circle certainly has stuck in their heads. A clean hold, 25 passes. So it did take some time to get down there. You mentioned how the cup from France had stood back ever so slightly, giving them extra space. I'd imagine that's obviously to try and force them a bit more laterally across the pitch. They know, well, France knows how much the USA love trying to slice and break through the middle. So even the person that was this mullet or the middle came in closer to the cup as well, just to stifle any options through there. But the USA, so clean with these throws. They make it look ridiculously easy.
Well, it's not easy when you're throwing into tight windows, for sure, even when you are the USA Women's Under-20 squad. I think really there, the discipline on the spacing against the zone, I also particularly like that. Not a huge fan of the kind of softer cup, moving the players away, not really having that stall count available to put the pressure on, make your opponent have to move the disc around. But that's only a hold. The USA will need to get at least 3 breaks of score, and of course, giving up the advantage of putting the first point on the board. That might prove crucial depending on how the rest of this game goes. But if you're a French fan, it's going to be absolute delight so far. A real statement coming out. And our first look at French offense, as that one is watched all the way into the hands by Margot Nissen. Of course, I think, much like Jacques Nissen, your brother, that Margot might be eligible to play for the USA. In fact, I do believe got selected for the team, but chose to play with the French women, her teammates from the joint juniors. And Mabé-Condiasson, first look at the number 8 with that long hair cascading down the back, was actually inspired by that joint juniors final to return to the squad. She wanted to help her teammates win a world championship, and such a fantastic handler, but there's a miss for Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre. Her 4th point in a row out here, and she's just asked a little bit too much. Immediate point and shoot. Mabekon-Diasson chasing underneath it, but look at the height advantage for the USA. A bit too much of a sandwich, perhaps, but what a grab from Haney.
France making their first mistake of the game. This is their first turn, and a crucial one at that. This could result in the USA getting their first break. But multiple defenders underneath, a cluster of humans, all going for the same disc.
Yeah, it was a contact, but I don't know if I could have the disc, so okay, so retry.
Okay.
It's okay. Thank you.
Well, certainly there, Mabekon-Diasson, every right to have a discussion about it. I think it's difficult, the timing isn't quite there for her on the jump. But there's a discussion elsewhere that's also retracted, just making sure everything is resolved out here. So indeed, our first break back for the USA off the initial error from the French. Not surprising, but who do you think that disc was supposed to be for?
I'm not sure, to be perfectly honest. I loved the option, especially if you've got 2 receivers going deep at that point.
Oh, I'm not sure that that reached its intended target. You know, that's really fantastic recovery possession for the USA D-line.
And that's again credit to the trust that they have for each other as a team. They're willing to back each other up rather than think, oh, that person's going deep, I'm going to leave it for them. No, they're wanting to help support when there's a defender lurking in that space too.
Well, Breeson Haney coming through to deliver the bail. Lucy Mertz, though, tempting the throw and getting that first break on the board, of course. Mertz, one of those Seattleites, such a strong youth program. Big shout out to all of the amazing coaches who have got all of these athletes here so far. Because, of course, the same can be said for the French. Lots of wonderful clubs that these youngsters now play for. Mabekon-Diasson breaking through this USA set. Also going for a bit of zone. Well, Bella Russell all the way down the field now collects someone to keep her busy on an assignment and stretch the field. That's nice work through Troyot. Back to Mabekon-Diasson. Just trying to put these French handlers under the same sort of pressure they did before that caused the spill. 16 passes now so far. Great leads following each other through. Oh, and that's a lacy one, sowing the seed into the path of Romaine Dallaire.
And Mabekon-Diasson was, in my eyes, the main person to get that flow going. She was able to find the gaps, faking and moving the mark around just to slice through to find the available person. We just get another look here. The break throws that we're seeing from France. My word. Again, this is something that I'm really enjoying seeing from all of the athletes on the field. They make throwing here look so easy, which it definitely is not. The fact that it looks so easy is just credit to how skillful they are.
Well, that one was a slight downwind. We have a near to far side breeze, slight diagonal to the right-hand side of our camera view. But also this pitch, in order to achieve the level of lusciousness and not be boggy, it's actually on a slope. There's a drainage tilt to our showcase field. You can see it there on the level of the camera. The left-hand side is just that little bit lower. So always making things that extra bit challenging, especially when throwing to the near side of the field when the wind rises. Chang slices across the far sideline with the disc. Just love the way these USA handlers sit in their pivots, but this time we have a return of the close force. Great communication between the flexible handler set though. Oh, making it challenging. That one is a good sag off from Urad.
The accepted foul. I'd imagine that the disc is going to stay in the hands of Chang.
It's either there or here. Okay, so it's before the throw. All right, so it's a foul, it's accepted, and it happened before the throw. Do we have a stall count? No stall, so in on 1. Okay, thank you.
And I've been proven wrong.
Well, foul away from the disc by the offense on the defense. And this zone really trying to shut out that far side handler. Oh, whether a tight force or not. But they are now escaping through. Although briefly unlocking. Casual offhand backhand dish from De Wolf. Well, I say casual, that one, I suppose, displaying exactly how many of those she's thrown throughout her playing career. Now Hakimi. This French side doing a really good job of nullifying Hakimi and Chang. Just don't want to throw into the jaws that we had in the earlier section. Now Burris popping through, but that is a steal around the shoulder. Burris not attacking it, and instead it's 11 on 11 damage. Camelia Chabot with another block in the game. Just keeping things patient. Perez. The French women are just going to have to throw something creative here. Oh, that's a lash of a swing pass. Now Perez again. It's got that lefty advantage for the uplines. I'll take that back. That's Monaco to Perez. A little bit close to the handler. This is messy, messy red zone offense from the French women. Monaco just going to throw the hammer. Oh, well, creativity at the last moment. Lali Mayar. And that's another break for the French. 5-2 their lead.
Not the cleanest offense that we've seen in the end zone space. But I have to give credit to anyone that have received the disc in front of the end zone line. I can't even remember at any point where there was a stall count below 5 that was reached. But they did not look phased at all. Just another look at that block from Chabot. The second block of the game. And eventually finding the slightly, well, almost blading hammer over the top to Maillard.
Wow. I don't think anyone would have predicted a 5-2 French scoreline coming out into this final. Of course, they taught the USA that little lesson. We know that they were looking to try and clean things up, keep their spacing, but the zones really coming to the fore for these European sides. We've seen them, USA, struggle across the divisions. Because, of course, it's so hard to get that team cohesion. Just the one training weekend and a week in Atlanta. Of course, all the Team USA athletes, massive thanks to Ozone and Atlanta Chain Lightning. And, of course, the mixture of the two who scrimmaged against these youth athletes ahead of their time here at the championship. Perotti calling for the space on the now sort of almost flat structure at the front. Trying to set up that block for Perez, misses it by a hair. Hakimi into the path of Snyder. All the way across. Now Russell pushing through from behind. Gelfand. Now Yap. Can see the reactions of the cup as they move through and forward. 5 players out the end zone. Oh, and that's a sneaky little find. The vision of Chloe Hakimi posts that one into the letterbox, and we have 5-3 The USA looking quite fine on that one with a clean hold.
Their O-line starting to find a groove. That was one of the first points, or at least one of the first points in recent few minutes, that the O-line has been able to get fewer than 20 passes, and this time resulting in a clean hold. The last clean hold was 25 passes. So they're bettering themselves every time. And this is largely because of the fact that they are able to communicate all together, providing the cuts. So we saw there Galfan going up the line immediately after throwing it, which allowed for the defense to stretch and pull apart. And Chloe Hakimi was able to find Snyder in the end zone.
The gold medal on the line.
Well, you can hear the dulcet tones of Tom Stiles on the mic, the stadium announcements. Of course, retired from our side of the things, but he always have his voice present in our ears, Gigi.
It is lovely to hear it again. Haven't really heard it since Nottingham last year, under 24s, so it's good to see he's back.
Well, Nissen fielding the ball, you see eyes on the prize all the way into the palms. And the USA with a relatively loose cup of three. That's a beautiful disc from Lacoste Lefebvre. Absolute peach. Le Chanoine pops it back to the giver. Of course, Nissen, one of those top stats leaders in the previous matchup in the final between these two. Got my notes confused earlier. Sorry if I confused anybody with what game I was talking about when we saw the replay of that double game point finish in the matchup between these two previously. That's an arcing reset. The confidence right now that this French women's team are playing with is really fantastic, inspiring to see. Nissen of that arm wave from Mabekon Diasson. Don't necessarily need to make too much noise. How you communicate on the field. Now creeping ever closer. Oh, that's a great little find. Lacoste Lefebvre hits the deck just to keep it certain. Lisa Le Chanoine with the goal.
I was very confused as to what was happening close to the end zone. It's quite common for teams to stay within a zone set as they get closer to the scoring point. But having wide open receivers in the front corner, possibly Lacoste Lefebvre was able to sneak through. And France using these around throws, some of them using the entire width of the pitch and soaring over like a comet, finding their target. They were able to find those gaps. Le Chanoine getting an assist on the board.
I want to talk about the noise, Gigi, currently at these live stream fields, because the previous final, the Open Division final, had a lot of noise, a lot of energy. I almost feel like maybe, because it is typical, and we do have to talk about it, at World Championships, you get a big crowd of folks that are just not North American sweep fans for the neutral viewer. Of course, this, if the USA women take the gold, would be, but the noise in here, not as apparent.
Yes, I kind of have to agree. The amount of people around the sidelines is pretty much the same, but it feels a lot more hushed.
Well, it's going to be a USA resurgence. They're going to have to get plenty more breaks. Can they do it, though? The French women taking the early lead, 6-3.
For the first time in 8 years, the WFDF World Ultimate Championships are here. The best athletes from 23 countries across the globe are headed to Australia to represent their nations in a competition for pride, prestige, and gold. Ultiworld is bringing you exclusive coverage of Worlds from the Gold Coast.
Of course, the Gold Coast likely to be a little bit sunnier than the Birmingham Moor Lane Sports Complex is. There's World Junior Ultimate Championships 2024, though it has been pretty lovely conditions. Just that bit of breeze to test the throwers on your screen. And we've got more of an upwind point here for the USA women, because the wind does change out here on field 1. We get a look at some continuation of the French zone. They really are sticking with it. The USA trying to figure it out and not being put under acres of, well, sorry, it's not acres, oodles of pressure. It's just about taking their time, matriculating things through. My mind goes back to Gigi, that bronze medal game in the open division where the Team Canada, they threw over 500 passes. That one though, a little bit scoop, and Chloe Hakimi playing through the contact. Not phased whatsoever. You can see the focus and determination. Russell with the single-handed catch latches over to Chang. That little bit of momentum now. Hakimi playing a little bit deeper than the cup. France sticking with their format. Not quite melting to match, but the USA hand set running away with it now on that far sideline, and we are inches away from their next goal. Pierotti keeping things nice and simple. Yep, with a great clutch grab. Just figuring things out, putting each piece of the puzzle together as the field compresses. Of course, Zoe Forget back on the field, sitting at the back, stopping things from going crazy, but that is an interesting choice. Very, very low. Oh, Hakimi there at the last moment. Well, they pressed the button, and that will be another clean hold in this women's final.
And again, we're seeing the USA have been able to collect all of their marbles together into one package and execute with precision and accuracy. But this is, again, it's required a timeout to do so. Unfortunately, they've used both of their timeouts in this first half. They do get another one in the second half, another 2 in the second half.
But it's showing how much the USA are having to kind of reconsider their options and come together as a squad. We know they have so much quality across their roster. The depth coming out, of course, no strangers. We've already talked about world champions at the under-20s, under-24s level, back home in the YCC.
But there's 2 things that can be considered when it comes to depth as a team. The USA is deep as a team in terms of the level of experience and the quality of the experience that they get to come up against in terms of opponents. When it comes to the French side, they are incredible athletes in their own right, to the same level that these USA athletes are, but they've played together for significantly longer than the USA team has played together. And that is a different kind of depth that you'd get.
Well, yeah, there's no substitution for reps, that is for sure. Vespini looking for an option. Last moment. Oh my goodness, what a fantastic layout bid. Morales, huge. And snatching a goal line opportunity here. That one came far too late from Le Swan Lacoste Lefebvre, but what a fantastic piece of defense. A little bit of look over the shoulder. Swan Lacoste Lefebvre poaching through into the lane. That's causing all sorts of mischief, and the French recover and get it back. Swan Lacoste Lefebvre going to pick it up. She has Le Chanoine racing towards the deeps. But you can see how much these French women are now starting to feel the pressure the USA defense is delivering. They love playing match defense, using that athleticism. Nissen with a little stutter step and then a burn through. Avec Andiasson now, Swan Lacoste Lefebvre going off towards the deep space, trying to be able to get those yards underneath. Love that turn. Avec Andiasson now up line is taken. No third option. So we'll have the reset moment. Lacoste Lefebvre, oh, that's a dicey little dish. I tell you what, the USA have turned up the heat here, Gigi.
players just getting themselves reset after a pit call. There is some discussion, but high fives between the teams.
Nicole Lefebvre with the trust one into Margot Nissen, and that will be a dirty hold, but it will do. France 1 point away from taking half, 7-4.
And you mentioned how the USA love to come out with match defense. It does seem to be their preferred style. And I'm not sure that France were fully prepared or anticipating for the presence and intimidation that comes with a USA match defense. So caused an error at the start of this possession. I say an error, it came with a flying, incredible layup block from Morales. And France coming back with a match D for themselves.
To be fair, I'm not sure that's necessarily that's pressure. I think that's just an absolutely fantastic bit of vision, an individual performance. Obviously, everyone else has to be shut down, but talking about match defense versus zone, Gigi, do you think there is a risk here of the French overutilising the zone in the first half, the USA starting to really work their way through it? Obviously, we are still getting turns out of it, but do you think there's enough juice left in it for the full stretch of this championship?
There certainly is, particularly if you are able to begin applying variations to it, and if you're not doing it time and time and time again, that allows for the USA to get used to it. So we've seen that it has generated turns, but we've also seen the USA generating flow from it. They're able to make shallow cuts to each other within a good amount of space that has marched them down the pitch and given them success. I think as long as you switch things up, do occasionally go into match defense to try and keep the mind fresh, reset everything, then it's definitely something to continue doing.
Swan Lacoste Lefebvre there, all smiles. The Yaka player, I'm sure, will have many of her club teammates. That would be... Okay, that's very interesting. To my perspective, Gigi, it did look like Pierotti had caught it off the bounce off the floor. But of course, we will go to the replay and get another look. Yeah, that is very, very unfortunate. But if these things happen, drop balls, drop catches.
Yeah, it's a slightly more unusual dropped pull.
Well, you can see she's looking upfield. She's doing the classic.
I didn't have a clear perspective of David, whether it was stopped or not.
That does look quite controlled in possession initially on that clap on the replay. But that's just my view. What I think matters not.
Confirm.
Can I have some of my teammates? I did not catch it. I did not have the rotation.
Okay. No, the US needs to say they agree.
So we just get another look. We're trying to have some of the
Okay,
USA
they disagree.
come in
okay.
for their opinion.
Well, we will actually...
No, it doesn't matter. You disagree. Your teammates try to have a look.
Pierotti would like to have a look. She is very, very keen to see a look at this replay. And I think that is probably a really fine outcome. I don't mind this.
We're treating this as a repull.
So it bounces off of the turf.
You'll be able to watch back this replay yourself.
If we're treating this as a contested drop pull.
You can watch all of the junior games filmed here. The World Championships on the Gold Coast in Australia.
I did not have control of it.
Well, drop pull as a repull. Yeah? Yeah.
So she keeps taking these?
We would say this is a repull. Is that agreed?
A what?
A repull. We're just resetting this.
No.
Yeah. Unless you agree on this playing from here, but if...
I think we don't have to recall. I think we don't want to recall.
Okay.
Jason.
No, we need to find it. solution. Either the disc is with the US here. No, we didn't start a stall count. So if you agree that the disc goes in here, then we're starting at 1 and out of a timeout, and you can check it in, or we're setting it a repoll. Make that decision. Yeah. Okay, the disc is staying here. Thank you.
Well, that was a little bit of a rough one to go through, but I think we all just have to give the trust as if we were the opponent. Simone Perotti just saying that she never stopped rotation. That is her view, and we do, of course, have to respect it, because it's not about what it looks like. It is about how it feels to the players on the field. And, of course, at this moment, it's very difficult to be put under the pressure of a 3-break deficit. Once again, the same opponent. And of course, I'm sure a very similar zone. Russell, of course, calling for the space that she's due. Trying to squeeze it through to Zhang. Well, that's a really great reaction. And there is going to have to be a hero layout indeed. Once again, the USA saving their skins. This time it's Nora Snyder. But the pressure in this game is real. I don't know how you feel watching this back at home, wherever you're tuning in from, but I don't think my heart rate has been this elevated in the booth for quite some time. Russell. Yep. Again, Bella Russell making sure that well, got a violation on the field.
I'd imagine discussing this double team.
Well, it shouldn't be a stoppage.
Just for that, because we have to go back.
Okay.
And then you can call double. Okay?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Unfortunately, I can understand Russell's perspective in saying, like, I need more space, but she also didn't give the Cup an opportunity to step back.
Everyone good with a ground check from her? Okay.
Hopefully we can just cool things down a little bit. Maybe we're saving a good cluster of the calls for this point alone, but Russell tapping us back into play. I like that little move from Xiao. Responsive crashing. Chang. Inside. I think Chang at the moment, the only player who doesn't look in the least bit flustered. So cool and calm. Sitting on that far side, and of course the more difficult side, because that would be the weak side of the field due to the wind conditions pushing against the team. Perotti, fantastic catch. And that is indeed down, but the foul call, certainly a very tight mark from Camilla Chabot.
Yeah, I can feel the intensity of this game from up here.
Yeah.
France calling for a translator.
And then I just hit contact. Okay.
Tu comprends? Je pense que je suis comme ça et que c'est elle qui vient dans ma main.
Okay. She thinks that she was standing and you went into her arm.
Elle cherche en bas et moi je mets ma main comme ça et c'est elle qui cherche qui vient à moi.
Okay. Like when you were pivoting low,
she
put her hand low and then you hit her.
Yeah, I think she shifted.
Okay. Elle pense que tu as bougé pendant... elle a bougé.
Je rétracte. C'est elle qui appelle la faute. Donc elle peut contester, moi je rétracte pas.
Okay, we've been discussing for 50 seconds. Do you think you can come to an agreement? So we have a foul call by you, and you seem to disagree. Okay, it's a contested foul. What is the stall count? Okay, so saying 3? Okay, the disc is coming in on 3.
So momentum has certainly slowed in this point. It's at least the third call that we've had.
Well, a break here would be, of course, the end of the first half, and the French will start the second innings on offense as the USA flag blocks our view. The sideline in front of us, of course, supporting. Firing against the zone. Oh, there was a moment where you thought Perez would go for that one, but it instead opens up the hole and freedom for the USA women at long last. It's a great little bit of a find. Maroon, who played in that joint juniors championship, didn't make any appearance on the stats board, but of course an impactful one for this championship. Dish low to Chang. They've now switched sidelines. Don't like the scoop. And a discussion with the mark.
Foul.
I'm here.
It's just like that's how the rules work. Like,
Okay. Let's reiterate. You are calling foul?
I'm calling contact, so I just
Contact.
Yeah.
And where did you feel the contact when
Like
you?
on here, because I stepped in, and I mean, like if you're moving on the mark.
Okay. And you're contesting it. What is
Okay,
your
no.
perspective?
I
What?
accept the contact.
Okay.
I accept the contact.
Okay. In that case, the disc is coming back in on one. Okay.
What do you think of these pickpocket fakes, Gigi, where they're sort of the thrower is sort of putting that arm almost inside, underneath the arm, and releasing around the back of the mark?
I can sometimes enjoy the idea of it, as long as it avoids contact in that circumstance.
Well, of course, you do have to be aggressive with your pivots to break a world-class mark. And the French women at the moment looking to try. Oh. And that's a little bit of a late reaction for Snyder. I wonder if we might get another look at that one. A bit of a discussion with the game advisor. Indeed, well, she accepts the perspective of the game advisor. Well, that's really, I mean, fantastic spirit from Nora Snyder.
Her teammates were also saying, yep, that was out, your foot was on the line.
Oh, well, they're just going to chuck it and see, go for yardage, but there wasn't a communication downfield, a squandered opportunity to take half of the break as Caron unable to do anything about it. I like that positioning for Russell. The time they're a little bit late, but it distracts through, and Snyder finds the other pocket instead. Of course, one of the keys to playing against zone is to be marked by either nobody or two players at once. Oh, that is just Hakimi for days.
There has been a travel call on Hakimi's throw.
She was quite close to the line.
I did see her pivot foot streak across the line.
Ah, Gigi, rarely do things sneak past your view.
I've got the benefit of a screen and the field right in front of me, so the ivory tower is real.
Don't reveal the secrets. Chang on the far sideline. Russell again really enjoying her movement. And just the general vibe of the way she's moving around against this zone. Snyder, with all of the USA players on that side of the field, really compressed.
And the three-person cup has stepped off again on the mark. They're being slightly more passive.
Oh, there's nothing passive about that one for Hakimi, having to hit the deck. Maroon now. Tee up. This is better spacing laterally. Although Hakimi, of course, with those rapid movements and flow, happy to play in the smaller channels. Just so slick and swift. Yup, calling for the space. Pirotti with a jump towards the line. Chang now. French women sticking with the zone. Pirotti, oh, throwing the dynamic, but that is a huge layout bid. Oh my goodness, I think I maybe broke my mic, but Zoe Forget, do not forget, always lurking in the back.
I didn't see that she was there. I thought that was a sure pass to Hakimi, but Forget emerging and exploding from the grass.
Wowee, well, can the French women do anything with the second opportunity here? Monera coming underneath. Zoe Forget now will open up some yards down the line, because of course that is someone that the USA do not want anywhere near the end zone. They'd much rather have her throwing. And they rip it through. Perret underneath it. Yang, though, is going to deny. I don't think that was ever in doubt.
Chang was in perfect position to box out 2 offenders. USA are in a worse off position here, though. If France are able to get the turn and then get that break, convert it, they will take half.
I love how Rachel Chang just looks like they're at a day in the office. Just so calm.
It's the visor as well. It just adds to the aesthetic.
No, even just the way they move.
This is true.
Like that just is just steel. Oh, but that's it. Amazing recovery. Wow. Pierotti. Hakimi. Through to Chang. This is turning into a very long point indeed. Russell. Just the ease with which the USA find the lateral flow. Russell, lefty dish to Snyder. Just need to be keeping things simple. Try and walk the disc in. Chang, oh, there it is. Just sneaking past the hand of Monera, but that was a point littered with real opportunities. 4 turnovers total, highest tally so far for this game, and that's the USA O-line getting tired out there.
It was never certain which direction that point was swinging. In total, there were 121 passes, 4 turnovers. Out of that 121 passes, only 5 were from the French side. So 116 passes that the USA were forced to make through that French zone. And it was successful in slowing them down. They had to move down the entire length of the pitch twice. And that was just that foot caught on the line there. The throw and hope is really the only way to describe that.
It would be nice to see a couple more adjustments to the D-line offense for the French. They are playing such fantastic D. I mean, look again at that block from Zoe Forget out of nowhere, and it's whistle clean.
It's plays like this that throw into the element is mental gymnastics. So of course this is a sport. There are physical factors that come into play here. But the fact that you can throw something that almost seems like a sure pass, and then somebody comes through and swipes that and takes that away from you, it makes you hesitate on those passes again.
So the French trying to take half. Can it be clean against the USA zone? Got some of their bigger athletes in that cup. Just in terms of the wingspan, trying to put pressure on. Mabekondiasson. Oh, a little hesitation there. An opportunity for one of the cup to have snuck through and snaffled a block. You see the activity from Diana Huang, or Diana. Just sitting on that shoulder of the zone, stopping the swing across. And now it's the French women's turn. But they're going to try and just keep the disc out of danger. Lacoste Lefebvre going low for that one. Mabekondiasson trying to find her moment to use the energy. Of course, both teams have had a lot of reps this tournament long. An entire week in this women's division, although having the slightly easier job medal match-wise, only having the 1 game yesterday and 1 today. Oh, there was a moment there, nearly the fine to Crozat on the far sideline. The USA really smart with this passive zone. We're now all the way up to 45 passes.
It does almost look like a blend between a junk style zone, so one person on the force and 3 in the cup, and an arrowhead where we've got Huang kind of dipping in and out of that handler space to help support.
Sorry, got excited there, Gigi, my bad. I just really enjoy Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre's upline throws. That's a big reacher, and there's just not quite enough timing. Galfin hugely. I mean, you've got to take your options when you get them. Lacoste-Lefebvre. This is now 60 passes to try and close out the half, with just under a third of the field left to go. Hard. Unfussed. Now Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre. The French just not trying to force it. Looking for those little windows as the USA get moved around by the upfield, but everyone getting a little bit disconnected now that we're moving towards the end zone. Marie-Claude Diasson though trying to end the drought. Oh, that one just so close, and a little scoop over the end zone line. France take half 8-5, but that took 76 passes. Whoa.
Goodness me. That throw from Marie-Claude Diasson to Lacoste-Lefebvre. Honestly, that throw alone is possibly one of my highlights of this first half. You could just feel behind that there was just this desire to get the points done, but it was calculated. It wasn't just a throw and hope circumstance. Marie-Claude Diasson saw Lacoste-Lefebvre moving and slicing across the pitch, weighted it enough so that it didn't fly too far out of the pitch. So she caught it just outside the front of the end zone, and then having a gentle pop pass to give them the first half. Phenomenal work.
Well, we really are getting a war of attrition out here in the women's final at the World Junior Ultimate Championships 2024. Looking at our game stats, I mean, we don't have the total pass tally on your screen, but what stands out for you so far, Gigi?
The breaks. France have 4 times as many breaks so far. And of course that has given them the separation here, them having taken half 8-5, but everything else has been relatively level. The number of holds, the number of clean holds, the number of turnovers still only within 2.
I mean, an 80% conversion rate for the French D-line at the moment. Absolutely phenomenal. The USA at the moment have thrown a total of 270 passes in the first half. We're going to go down to a sideline interview now with one of the amazing coaches, Christophe Delpech.
I'm Cyril Perez, manager.
Oh, the manager. Oh, we didn't have you on our list. Well, thank you so much for being with us. So at the moment, the zone is so effective for your team. Are we going to see more of that in the second half?
Yes. Zone defense was very good for us. USA lost. Oh.
we're getting a race behind you.
Oh, France! It's a France victory. Yes, France, USA lost lots of discs against the zone. We try to do the same thing in the second half time. Second half.
So we're going to stick with it, Gigi.
The USA are also throwing out a fair few different defenses. Do you have any contingency plans to help battle against that?
I don't understand.
So they have lots of different defenses.
From USA?
Yes.
Yes.
So do you have any response on offense? What will you do?
Yes, we try to play with handler, lots of passion. Yes, it's okay. In the first half, it was very good. We score Oh là là, we score.
Beaucoup.
Yes, we score beaucoup. Oh là, sorry.
No, perfect. And the final question, at the beginning of the game,
Yes.
there were many points where we saw the same players, like
Yes.
Swan, Zoe, etc.
Yes.
So, do you think maybe at the end of the game they will be tired?
No, the coach decided to change players in offense and defense. Zoe Forget, RL Perez play only defense.
Ouais.
So I think in the second half they can decide to make power line and maybe we can go to the win.
Oh, well, merci beaucoup.
We hope. Merci.
Bonne chance.
Allez la France.
He has to get it in there. Well, can Les Bleus stay ahead in this game? At the moment, it's the USA and the Navy, but it is the French ahead. 8-5 they lead over the USA. Well, the USA currently finding themselves with their backs against the wall with the French in the lead 8-5, and we are joined by coach Jason Adams. Lovely to have you with us.
Oh, great to be here.
Yeah, it's been a swing on both sides. It's been difficult to tell where the momentum is going. But in that first half, you took two crucial timeouts. Can you talk us through what was discussed in those in the timeout circle there?
Yeah, I mean, we're just trying to, find our legs, but really just find our calmness. We were baking a bit of a nervy cake there in the first half, and I think we're just, trying to settle into the pace of this game and doing what we can to put the athletes in the places to succeed.
Well, you talked about relying on your sort of strength and leaning into each other. So in terms of the cohesion, as you say, a lot of this is about nerves and holding them. So what are the kind of emotional cues you're using to try and cohese this team?
Yeah, I mean, we want to have a fire in our belly on defense especially, but we need to have a calmness in our heart when we're playing offense. Like, we need to be as patient as they're asking us to be and just hit the open hands, keep the disc moving. And no individual has to do too much here, so we're just trying to, be a team.
And how has the atmosphere at the venue been affecting either you or the team?
I mean, it's great to be here. This is what we've been hoping for. Swirly wind, beautiful pitches, great fans. It's wonderful. It's a great sports atmosphere.
Oh, well, it's been a pleasure to have you with us, Jason. Good luck for the second half. And just to give you a little bit of the thing, your highest pass tally so far, without any breaks in it, is 57.
All right, well, maybe we'll have to go 60 plus then.
Maybe. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
So the French women starting the second half on offense. Forget underneath, making the save. Of course, narrowly missed out on attending the World Beach Championships last year in LA, of course. Blanc on that side, already a world champion at the seniors level. Mabekandias point and shoot, has separation. That could just be out of bounds. It is indeed. I mean, you've got to go for the greatest in terms of just practicing them, but that one never had any chance.
I love the look, though. It would have been a majestic option.
Russell. Well, this would be a huge opportunity. You kind of hate to see the French squander the disc so quickly. Mabekandias looking to go up top, and that is, oh my word, just emerging from the pack of humans. Eva Hayes. Well, hey there. Gelfand. Love how flat that flick is. Morales. High one for Russell. As we said, she tends to play for the USA on defense, at least in this championship. Still count rising all the way up, but they just about get it through. Oh, and it's Perez with the steal. Doing what she does best. Swan Lacoste Lefebvre will also put that one up. Oh my word. Perez for the goal and the recovery for the French, and they put it in the bank to start the second half.
I am speechless. My goodness, it did start to look like the momentum was swinging in the US's favor, but getting the steal, baiting that shot. This throw from Mabekandias was almost perfect. A couple of meters too far out, just caught into the wind, wanted to go for the greatest. I love the vision. But here, all of the players seemed to swarm underneath, and you could not see. It was completely blind from our angle who was going to collect it. But this was crucial. Perez coming through and then streaking deep immediately, and the throw from Lacoste Lefebvre.
That's just trust. That's trust on a platter.
That's well drilled as well. You can tell that they warm that up every game.
Well, perfect cohesion in the first half. Lacoste Lefebvre, a real weapon. We called it as one of the players to watch. Ariel Perez, of course, one of the other players looking to try and get a little bit of revenge after that defeat last time around. So the USA still trailing 3 breaks against the French women, and Pierotti, that central anchor position, working with Chang and Hakimi. French zone forces the spill, but that little bit of extra collection. Hakimi just, when she's good, she's unstoppable. Violation of the double team.
Okay, you accept? Yeah. All right, so back in on 1 for an accepted violation. So violation accepted, back in on 1. All right, then you put that through the field and then...
Tango Bold, the GA on that side. I think the first time we've actually heard his voice.
Possibly.
Snyder finds acreage with one hand inside it. A little bit of a pop-up. Hakimi. Oh, that is just really great flow off of the stoppage for the USA, and that is more the kind of action we're expecting, although it looked a little uncomfortable at the start.
Certainly, before that call, there wasn't a huge amount of flow. It was, I wouldn't say stagnant, but everything had to be considered. But there was a word that you mentioned in the first half, and it was describing Hakimi specifically, but it can apply to multiple athletes across here, and it's rapid. The rapidity at which the USA are able to catch and fake or release is lethal. You can see it at play here.
Well, there are moments when Hakimi is sort of dancing with the disc where I think probably we could maybe mention the footwork. It's easy for us to see, of course, on slow motion replays, difficult to spot on the field, and you do see players that like to enjoy that sort of, well, the tiki-taka small space that we tend to see hail out of the Southern Americas. But if you don't call it on the field, it will continue. But the USA fans now something a bit more to smile about. 9-6. The French still leading. Because, of course, they had that break to start us off, so nullifying the concept of the first offense point for the USA. If this one trades out, Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre working with Mabekon-Diasson. And this time we have Hakimi being pulled over for a power D-line point, but Mabekon-Diasson never stops running. The layout grab, no! Just like, and she slaps and makes dust clouds underneath that one. The frustration.
Despite having to go full extension, she was so close.
It hit her in the hand. Well, game of inches. Hakimi absolutely losing that one. Players underneath it, and that is a foul call. Margot Nissen saying that there was a little bit too much of the vector of Annalise Collin. I mean, she was certainly running in very rapidly.
I'd be willing for 2 people to look at the video.
I'll look at it. So okay.
Well, we'll let them talk to it and tell them. Yeah, we'll let them look to it. Let's keep it.
And if they can't,
No, I agree, but I feel like because we all had contact, it's all kind of even.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think it wasn't just like regular, like shoulder contact. It was like a leg contact that prevented me from jumping.
What's happening?
Nathan has his hand up, so they're going to go check what Nathan said.
And so they're looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they can't see anything, I'm going to contest.
Okay.
Okay, I don't have the time for how long this went on, but hopefully it doesn't take too long. Would you like my perspective?
Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, it's not clear to me at all, so you probably don't. I saw 2 people, I think it was you 2 coming together, and I saw you coming in as well. At what point who hit where, that's very hard to judge here. So I don't have a clear and obvious view on that, unfortunately. Sorry, what? They recommend retract the foul. So, yeah, okay. They recommend retract the foul, so it's your disc. No stall count. Let me leave, please.
Well, the USA happy with the friendly fire. Contacted to perhaps stop Nissen, but the teammates on the sidelines advising her to retract the call. They're quite happy with that one. So the USA looking to try and put a danger counter-attack in place. Pick elsewhere will bring that one straight back.
Uo celebrating.
Yeah, there was a moment where Scout Noble just, like, the whole body reacted to being made aware that there was a call to drag the disc back. And this, folks, is why your coaches, when you play Ultimate, make you do the game where you have to score again. Pull it back and do it again. These situations where stoppages happen. Hakimi. I love that isolation.
Some good buzz switching in the handler space. They're trading off the cutters.
Simrat unable to collect that one. The pressure. And Nissen trotting over to put it back in play. Again, the French women delivering cuts to the deep space immediately when they gain possession. But just trying to run it through the back set. Monera, Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre. Well, this is a proper power point by the looks of it for the USA, because we also have Chang, but that is an amazing adjustment. Violet, yeah. Snaps it. And puts the dishy backhand. Well, that one a little bit dangerous. But of course, Hakimi coming down with it. Chang, oh, well, there was no mark. Something went a little bit wrong with the defense there, and the USA find another break in this game. Power line prevails.
And now within 2, they're having to make smarter decisions, both as athletes and from the coach's perspective. I did love the matchup between Mabakontiason and Hakimi, where there was the turnover and Hakimi was kind of gently standing around the handler space. Mabakontiason had stood off. Powerful athlete, so close. Impressive commitment for the disc as well. Most people would not make a bid like that to save the offense. This disc almost flying over the top again. Mabakontiason having to go to the ground in an attempt to save it, and Chang unmarked currently. And they were able to get it in for the break.
Well, yup, they're only 14 years old, already playing world-class defense out here on the field in Birmingham. The sun now starting to make its way around the clouds.
Is this foreboding of a calm before the storm?
Oh, I don't know, Gigi, but we are definitely getting a heckin' match, the best of the 3 finals. Of course, we might be slightly biased because we're in the booth right now and it is all happening. Lacoste-Lefebvre with Margot Nissen and Manoret at the back. A little bit of confusion on the timing upfield. Dishing across. And we're going back to that pace from the French women where they're just taking their time. Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre just emerging from the back of the sack, but stall count really starting to rise. Monera, the lefty. Now Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre surveying. There's lots of space in front of the very deep stack.
And just as the USA have gone to a match D, France have changed their offense to more cutter-led, which is an interesting switch up.
Well, Lacoste-Lefebvre able to find an alternative option because Nissen was completely marked out up that line. Oh, that is a spicy bid. And immediately pops up Des Haney. Monera now. Nissen just grinded to the front cone, but denied.
As the game has gone on, we mentioned at the beginning how France lead their cutters into the throw. The throws have been getting closer, possibly from fatigue, and it's giving America these opportunities to make those bids.
Well, D. Wolf, nominative determinism perhaps, but a collision to try and grind that upline cut. And Lucie Caron will call the foul. Oh, that's really lovely. Handler smother cover from Caron. De Wolf taking a different matchup. Nissen elsewhere. Oh, that's going to have a lot of loft underneath it. Oh, and the drop. Really unfortunate. Bella Russell couldn't do anything but hit the deck to try. You've got to put yourself in the right window. And a short field for the French O-line. You've got to be good to be lucky. Oh, that one nearly cut the grass extra. Perez. And a stall out call.
Lacoste-Lefebvre had at least 2 different cuts trying to get free.
Here for the microphone. Oh, then you just contest it. Should we get a translator? Yes. Margot! Que pour moi, je lâche le disque avant qu'elle dise 10 et en plus qu'elle accélère le compte sur la fin. Okay. 2 things. One, she thinks she released it before you said 10. Okay. And the other one is she thought you fast counted at the end. Okay. I don't think I did, so I'm still gonna call a stall. Okay. Do you want to contest?
So contested? Yeah. All right. So we have stall out contested. So we're back in on 8.
Violation.
This is not an easy position to be in. You can tell that trying to look for Lacoste-Lefebvre does eventually find her.
And it is an upwind point. Oh, that's a really great recovery. Again, Perez, one of the players that really wanted this championship win. Oh my goodness, that is an amazing breakside possession on the goal line. Oh wow, Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre putting the team on the back with her throws, and the goal for Lucie Caron.
You could feel the sigh of relief as soon as that disc was released out of Lacoste-Lefebvre's hands. Now 3 points separating them, a few turns from both sides, and the wind certainly played a pivotal role in causing some havoc. And again, we spoke about the rapidity at which the USA are able to release some of the discs, but France are just answering back with the exact same level of athleticism.
Well, the junior programs for the French sides have been on the ascendance for years and years. If you've not been informed, well, this is a great example for you. The USA down 7-10 with just under 20 minutes of regulation time available. But the French women 5 points away if they can avoid getting broken along the way. And we're going to get another look at the zone, I'm sure, because Zoé Forget has taken to the field. Camille Blanc, of course, running the point of this zone, trying to avoid the swings to the reset handler. And I have a feeling in this direction we're going to get lots of loading of the USA line, because they are throwing directly into the wind, which has risen now. Such a key feature, the USA coaches were saying, and complimenting the French women, saying that they were much better in the wind and certainly winning the big spaces. That's not been the nature of this one, though. The USA on a couple of jump balls really coming down with perfection on their reads. Perotti. Just USA sticking with the 4 handlers back, or 5 at the moment actually. Just trying to gently move their way up the field.
There is a lot of space in the middle of this cup as they're starting to realize that they can pretty much keep one person either in there or moving in and out of there to generate flow, but a turnover has resulted here.
Well, that one after only the tally of 23. Pre-stall from Perotti. And a timeout being called, so Perotti pre-stalling, just tapping the disc in to get it into play, just having a chat about what the stall should be. I think 0 seems fair, and that is indeed the agreement on the field. Well, at the moment, Lacoste-Lefebvre is really just dominating for the French women. We told you, folks, that she was going to be one of the key players in this match, and she's not disappointing.
Is sitting with 1 goal and 4 assists so far. 0 throwaways. You've witnessed yourselves how often she is getting to the disc and has 0 throwaways. What? That is insane.
I mean, there have been narrow windows that have been missed for this French women's side. My mind goes back to that Mabé Diasson trailing edge out with the flat palm, but the number 68 already at the top of the EUCF scene here, plays her ultimate for Yaka of Noisy-le-Sec. And just to talk about it a little bit on the global stage, the Europeans have changed the way that their club system works. It's not now all about getting ranking points during the course of the season rather than having qualifiers, because of course the women's division in particular did struggle out of the pandemic. Some of the EUCF, the European Ultimate Championship finals, was just a sign up to participate, but back to full strength now. Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre will be part of that. So if you are enjoying this French women's team, of course, plenty of the other athletes representing other teams The Angers programs are so good. And so much amazing mix as well. They're just going to have to just chuck it and hope. Can she run it down? There's going to be the wind pushing that way early.
And Forget took to the floor. It looked initially like she slipped, but she is calling a foul.
Well, are there any athletes as fast as Forget?
My feet in your... Because like the disc also... Okay. I think I was in the space, so I don't know. I was turning to run at the disc.
You have me as well if needed. People are reviewing the camera, so we can wait for that. Would you like my perspective?
I also don't know if you have a play on the disc.
But I can run up. The disc is... I can run...
Okay, what do you...
Okay, so from my perspective, there was contact. I think it was just basically two players turning into each other. Okay. So I would call that a offsetting or a, I can't remember the right word, but you know, it's an outfield one. Personally, I think the disc was probably too far, but you know your own speed better than I do. You know your own speed better than I do. If you truly believe you had a chance, then that's a perspective.
Okay. I don't think I believe you had a play on the disc. Okay.
So if you're contesting it for that reason, then it's still a contested foul. I haven't seen a resolution from the camera, so are we okay to resolve it on the field?
Sure.
Yep. Okay. Foul, contested, disc is going back. So contested foul, disc back here.
Well, that one, you've got to believe yourself. You've got to believe in yourself to get your hands around a championship win. And the players disagree, so we send it back. The French women may be getting a little bit of a get out of jail free card there, but there have been a lot of calls in this game for both sides.
I was thinking the same thing. That did look like a higher stall count call, but then only being brought back in at 6.
Well, that is the rules. The highest it can come in on after a contested foul is indeed that number. Forget underneath, having that match up with Ellie Simrot. And then up line for Blanc. And in the end, it's an easy open side, spoiled defense, and you can see the USA defenders. Well, actually, no, hold on. Gigi, there were so many turns in that point and so many weird stoppages. I forgot. That's another break for the French.
That's the first break in the second half, so you are forgiven for not realizing what is happening. It's been difficult to tell where the momentum is swinging, particularly after a few stoppages that slowed it down. But one thing I want to give credit to, the offense was generally quite slow from France on the turn. They were hesitating on some of their shots, but the cut from Camille Blanc up the line was so powerful, assertive, and commanding that it almost gave like that switch in the head and was just like, nah, I'm done. Can I have the disc? Thank you. I've got the assist.
Well, I'm sure there have been sides, both teams back home, absolutely screaming at their television screens in front of them. But of course, all we want, folks, is a close game. The USA finding themselves in a deficit with just over 11 minutes remaining. The French just the one timeout to burn. The USA with 2, but they're not going to want to run the clock down at any moment now. Hakimi over to Chang, and we start our downwind offense for the USA. The French again with this zone. Camille Blanc in the center of it. Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre and Perez as the USA just thread together. Pass after pass on the near sideline. Well, it's been a long time since we've had big channels of play for the US directly underneath our booth. Maroon now just sitting in front of the cup, The USA really liking that play at the moment, and it is working out. Chang, an ambitious move to try and have that in bounds. Well, at least in the end zone bounds. Now Yap. Following the throw nicely. Oh, and there's a stumble. Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre hits the deck a little bit too early. I'm sure she wanted to try and prevent that pass, but Willa Morales in a lovely little pocket.
And with all of the puzzle pieces laid out in front of the US, they've managed to put things together in the right place to figure out that zone. That was the slickest movement that they've had so far, at least in the second half, if not the entire game, particularly in that wind direction. And it's worked out in their favor. There's only a 3-point buffer now. And you mentioned earlier on, is it dangerous for France to stick with their zone? And I think that's probably what they're going to discuss. Change things up. That front four around the handler set gave too much space, and it played into the USA's advantage with their style, where they're wanting to generate those quick give-goes and find the gaps. And they were able to do so in that possession.
Well, the USA O-line still having some struggles here in the second half. The total turnovers now 8. 4 for their D-line, of course, those missed opportunities for breaks. 2 for 5 versus the French. 5 for 6. And this is now a real intensity to finish us off here. The World Junior Ultimate Championships. It's been a fantastic week. Massive thank you to all of the organisers, because it has been an exceptionally well-run tournament, and even some British sunshine as the French shine through the zone. They had the option available in Caron on the near sideline, but this is good patience. Just absolutely destroying that zone initially. Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre, the connections between the O-line of the French are just so well attuned. Nissen dishes across. Mevecan-Diasson. If they'd waited a second, that probably would have been in the end zone. But it allows the USA to apply the zone. No one anywhere near that one though, so they get away with leashing it with gas. Now this time, oh, you think maybe Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre could be more aggressive, but she doesn't need to, because there is the backup this time, timing from the feet of Lisa Le Chanoine.
She was lurking at the back of the pitch for that entire hold. Forget, rather than in that deep space, kind of traded and sat shallower, still within the deep space, but away from pretty much any USA defenders. And as soon as France was stuck on the far sideline, but started to slice across and through, finding Forget isolated in the middle, then just got them closer and closer to the end zone. They did have to slowly figure it out as they got to the end zone line, as that USA defense just clamped down on every possible option and stifled any sort of flow. But now 4 points up. We've got 6.5 minutes left until soft cap.
So, Gigi, we like to play this weird thing called Indoor Ultimate in the UK. And when you're down in a game of indoors and you're seeing the minutes expire, is that when you play zone? Not really, no. It's a really interesting choice for the USA to come out with a zone set when they know they need to go and hunt down breaks. My mind goes back to that lovely bit of, well, actually, two lovely bit of defenses. The run through from Violet Yap and the huge layout block from Willa Morales. Those, I'm pretty sure, were off the back of playing match defense. So we see the offsides call.
So the offside, when it's called by the offense, they are able to take it in from the brick mark.
Indeed. Seen it a couple times in this matchup, but yeah, well, in the contrast, if you're the French and you can continue to put pressure and sort of just, you know, confuse the lanes, make the USA hold onto the disc for at least 6 seconds per possession, or sort of every other, then this is a dream scenario for them. 5 minutes left.
This is the change of defense that we were wanting. Slightly different zone set, is much more assertive and aggressive at the front set.
Indeed, but of course it does then leave you slightly at risk when you manage to drive your way through it. Nice faking from Snyder there, trying to give herself the maximum options and keep this front set moving. Hakimi out. Nice find. Oh, and a cheeky lefty dish. Hakimi action roll all the way over the top of the head. Well, I tell you what, just let the momentum carry you, my dear. That was great.
Absolute confidence in herself to hold onto that disc. It did almost look like through the roll she might have lost possession, but it stayed tight to her body the whole time. And again, so slick. Everybody was in tune and in sync. We see the semi-inflatable eagle running down the sideline. I'm sure it's actually just inflated by the wind pressure here.
Well, at the moment, the pressure is just the time ticking away. The French found themselves in a very similar position to this one, Gigi. Last time, these two nations were tussling for a world gold medal at the under-20 division. That one started 13-8. So a French hold here would put the USA on the opposite side, but there was a lot more clock left back in Poland in 2022. Hakimi, the stats leader for the USA in that game. And it was a run of 4 from the French, but they couldn't quite prevent the States from punching that final goal in the scorecard. But just looking around for options, you can see the frustration from Abercon-Diasson as Delaire churns up yards underneath. Everything so hesitant from the stack. That one's going to require the turnaround. Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre now. Can't get that break out around Nissen. Just about. My goodness, I think that was a little finger catch. Certainly amazing arms around the back. This is super pressure from the USA. Well, this is more like it. Match defense seems to be their strength. Delaire now, Russell fading away and taking the switch. Delaire's just going to have to shoot it forwards. Well, there is a nice undercut from Lucie Caron. Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre turns the shoulder away. Wow, we've talked about the number 68 throws, but Lucie Caron, that was something. 17. She's only 17.
You could feel the monumental pressure that ramped up as soon as the US had set their match defense. If you were to watch back a few of those passes, you can see the hesitation. There's almost like this pre-flick fake on the throw, wanting to think about it and consider everything. And Lacoste-Lefebvre again getting a point on the board. And you mentioned how, in terms of timing, setting a zone is not ideal if you are the team that is down. Fundamentally, the best defense to play is the defense that you're best at. And for the USA, it seems to be match.
Well, 13-9. It is indeed going to be a battle. That was really, really, really great match. I agree, that's their dual defense, but the French now coming out. Zoe Forget, Camille Blanc, Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre, Maëlys Troyot. I think many of these players are not going to leave the field, and the USI side of things. Hakimi, Chang, probably destined to grind this one out for the rest of the game. Birotti as well there, just trotting through to the hand space, and we see match defense. Camille Blanc taking that difficult matchup with, whoa. Hakimi inside. Hakimi too strong. Hakimi throwing the laser inside flick that goes past Violet Yap.
Incredible bid. Almost flew at the same velocity as the disc. My word, having to bid in stride as well, using that forward momentum to launch herself.
Well, there you go, changing the rhythm and putting match defense on. Oh, well, you could see the deep spaces. I think that was Guy Vercholet that was trying to just ignite and tempt Lacoste-Lefebvre into a deep shot, but she says, let's take a break. I agree. Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre, the USA trailing by 4 here in the second half of the WJUC final.
For the first time in 8 years, the WFDF World Ultimate Championships are here. The best athletes from 23 countries across the globe are headed to Australia to represent their nations in a competition for pride, prestige, and gold. Ultiworld is bringing you exclusive coverage of Worlds from the Gold Coast. See who is truly the best in the world. It all starts August 31st.
It is all happening right now for the French women. A timeout call, isolating Perez in the near side space. Camille Blanc racing underneath though. Has the option, Guibert Cholet. Now it's Zoe Forget that just trots away. Oh, surely. No, there's the fake. Camille Blanc thinks better of it. And has Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre just hanging out, keeping Hakimi away from the rest of the play, although that's a big old poach off. That one just about towed in. Perez. Now Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre. How does she keep making those moves in the handler space? Forget. Pick call elsewhere on the play. So that one might go back.
Despite the pit call, the French cutters are able to get free. I don't know how they're doing that. The match defense is just stifling and they're still able to somehow find some space.
Stalling one.
So Forget seeking options. Perez, oh, maybe if that break side cut had continued, there could have been the flow and continuation. Now trying to dance across, Forget. So close. Oh, that is going to work. A layout score to take us to our first match point of 5 for France.
They are knocking on the door of a gold medal. This is spicy.
I am not sure what has happened to this USA women's team in this game, Gigi. I think they've just been thrown around the field. This is a fantastic coaching performance. Those power lines to open us up and the zone that they've clearly drilled round after round after round. It is just so interesting.
And there's something to be said about the sheer quality of play that is in the junior division. That bid, you can see again, breath of relief and then celebration. But the way in which these athletes are just powering through, my goodness, they could give seniors a run for their money.
Wow, and they do. we get to commentate on many of these French women at players for the French. But this is Forget's last bite at the under-20s. Cherry missed out on that World Beach roster due to injury. You can see she's pretty much covered in tape. But it's not just been the big stars rising to the fore here for the French. A full performance because, of course, these USA athletes are fantastic matchups and they have provided breaks as well. Chang at the back with Hakimi. Through to Snyder. The USA running through these players that are so steady after the earlier spoils. Madoka Uo. Oh, I love that inside leader to Chang. And they're just going to put it up into the end zone, exploiting the height advantage and the range. Grace Maroon up on an island, but there's no mutiny there.
Third timeout in which the USA have been able to find their ground. Again, it would be an interesting strategy if you could do that every single time you seem to lose it, but obviously there's a finite amount of timeouts that you can take.
There are indeed. Well, the USA have one left to burn, but this is the second match point for the French women. They're first coming out with just an O-line. I like that, letting your D-line go and try it. And of course, Maroon with lots of experience, been playing for almost half her lifetime, and got to win regionals with the University of Pennsylvania. UPenn making the bracket of nationals. So someone really putting in efforts back home in the States.
And the USA have managed to get 2 breaks so far in this game, so it's not out of their reach. But France, just counting on the stat sheet here, have 6.
Well, we have a power line coming out of the French in terms of pulling Forget across, who's been playing defense most of the game. For the USA, it's almost exactly the same line. Well, I say that, we've got about half and half. But I don't see Chloe Hakimi on this defensive stand, but we do have a big pull from Rachel Chang. Lacoste-Lefebvre into Forget. Mabekon-Diasson, big poach off from Snyder. Of course, we know that Mabekon-Diasson likes to drive upfield. It's Nissen. Lacoste-Lefebvre, how is she still cutting all the way deep and all the way under? But it's a drop for Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre. And an opportunity for a first break.
You could hear the sideline erupt as soon as that happened. This is a crucial turnover.
Well, the USA cheering section, of course, a big part of this program, coming across and helping the North American stars bake the cake. That's one of the things they've been talking about. They can't all be sugar or spice, but that's everything. Nice Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre. Perhaps a little bit too aggressive there.
Wanting redemption from the drop earlier on in the point. Wanting game advisor perspective.
You are calling a foul.
Yeah, I felt hand on hand a little bit.
Was that before or after you tried to catch the disc?
My disc was, my hand was on the disc, I felt it.
Okay.
And then I felt the hand right there.
Okay.
For me, I just think I touched the disc. I thought I was just at the disc. Can we check that one first?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, no, I think they just need a French spray over there. Okay. I didn't have a clear perspective on when your hands touched because you were running that way. Okay. Everything else seemed to be clean from my perspective.
Gotcha.
So, if they don't find a resolution in the next 10 seconds, we should treat this as contested unless they're signaling something to us.
They're saying it's a foul.
Okay, but it's...
I mean...
It's... Does France agree? Okay, use a hand signal, please. Okay, that seems like they disagree.
Okay. I think we just can contest it.
Yeah, okay, it's a contested foul. The disc is going back.
Okay, sure.
that way.
Well, you don't always have to get blocks. Putting pressure on your opponent can do just as well. Maybe a little bit of an overuse of media in that point, Gigi?
It's difficult to call. Again, we're not at the right perspective. Only the players can really make that decision.
Well, Chang, low pivot into Snyder. Just love the way we're now just getting a grind battle of match defense. Lots of poaching on the underneath from Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre. Now just recovers because Zoe Forget leaves the stack and leaves a window of opportunity. There's a lot of contact after the play, and there is going to be discussion about the foul.
I felt like a full body push. I mean, as I tried to go for the disc, I just thought the disc comes really fast, and I think the fall occurs when the disc is not in play. So,
okay. Would you like my perspective?
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely saw a lot of body contact coming in from you because you had established position and the disc was over you. I don't think that you had at that instant an ability to catch it, but I also don't think it was too far away for you to make a second attempt. So from my...
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to trust your teammate?
Yeah, teammate safe.
They've... Yeah. Do you agree? We should come to a resolution, but you... Yeah. Okay, we're retracting the call. Turnover stance.
Again, fantastic spirit. We've seen some beautiful displays of spirit here.
Well, the French trying to do it on the first offensive line. Nissen calling for something underneath Lacoste-Lefebvre. All quiet, Zoe Forget coming through, looking for a reset. That's really fantastic handler defense from Snyder. Nissen high, oh, that one just about made it. Zoe Forget going for gold, and they make the catch. Oh my goodness, France get their first gold medal at the under-20s level. Zoe Forget coming back from injury, and the French women change the fortune here in Birmingham.
I am speechless. Oh my God, all the emotions being felt. Let me redirect. Anyway, yes, first gold for France on the World Junior level. They have earned themselves a gold previously on the European level, having taken that in 2023 against Italy. But my goodness, France was in the driver's seat the whole duration of this game. They knew that they had to establish that level of dominance, take that step up, and they did that, commanding 3 breaks and then taking a further 3 after that later on throughout the duration of this game. Every single person on that French squad contributed to some capacity in earning that gold medal. It was never a game of just 1 or 2 athletes that were the rising stars. Of course, we saw some phenomenal catches and plays from certain names that we have been saying repeatedly time and time again, but absolute credit throughout that entire squad. The depth that we spoke about earlier on is what shone through.
Gigi, I'm not crying, you're crying. This is an emotional moment. You can see all of the French ultimate community here in Birmingham surrounding their women's team. I mean, you've got to talk cohesion. As you said, the kind of middle section of the French roster, really shouldering the burden, allowing their stars the ability to shine through. So France, your new women's champions here at the under-20s level on the world stage, and Zoe Forget bringing in that final catch. Missed out on the World Beach squad. And look at this scene, it is absolutely wonderful.
Beautiful display of pride.
Absolutely. Well, commiserations to the USA. They have played an amazing championship as well. They're no strangers to losing. Certainly one of the coaches here for the USA mixed squad was telling us about that. She got revenge after losing out in Dublin, coming back in Lecco. So the French women pulling a leaf out and having a little bit of revenge themselves. I mean, 7 returning from the roster at the joint juniors, including 2 players who were there, who've come back after missing out on EYUC last year. And 1 player coming back saying, I watched my teammates lose and I step up to the plate. That is just heart and soul coming out of this European nation. And I'm sure many of the athletes that have dazzled us on this showcase field will roll through to the under-24s, the seniors programs, and however long they stay playing. But a real family affair. Difficult to pull out any of these athletes, of course. Who would you want to speak to, Gigi?
Oh, goodness me. So many of these athletes have made my tournament.
Well, talk me through the list. I'll start. Erel Perez, an absolute dynamo on defense, getting block after block after block, winning the disc back in big points.
Camille Blanc, for taking charge whenever she needed to, saw that her team was kind of gently jogging through points and then was like, nope, I'm going to take this on.
Swan Lacoste-Lefebvre, of course, delivering so many stats on the assist side of things, and still no turns. 2 goals, 5 assists, 1 block, 0 turnover. That is fire.
Mabe Conti-Osson throws and grabs, defensive pressure, and all-around player.
Lucie Caron delivering massive underneath yards in the late stage. I mean, let's talk about the USA though. We're getting a little bit one-sided here in our booth. Chloe Hakimi and Rachel Chang, wow. I mean, pulling so much duty in this championship. Nora Snyder as well towards the end, just such a brilliant presence. But we finally managed to get 2 of these stars out of the French huddle. We'll go down to a sideline interview with them. Zoe Forget, congratulations, and to you, Margot Nissen. How does it feel after missing out with injury, having a gold medal?
Je suis trop contente. J'y croyais depuis le début. Je savais qu'on était capable de le faire et je suis juste trop heureuse là. J'ai rien d'autre. Je suis trop heureuse.
She said, it feels good. She knew it from the beginning. This team's so good, and she's just so happy.
Was there a crucial moment during the game that caused you to either keep charging through or to switch up what you're having to do?
Il y avait un moment où ça a changé.
Pour moi, on était vraiment à fond dès le début. Dès le début, on a mis les jambes et après, on est juste rentré dans leur tête et on a gagné, quoi.
Not really, it was just right at the beginning, working with our legs, getting inside their heads, and then we were full force ahead.
Well, we'll talk about your speed, Zoe. Do you think that you are the fastest player at this championship?
Que je suis la plus rapide? Oui. Non, 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 je pense pas. Il y en a plein qui sont rapides. Je pense pas.
No, there's a lot of really fast people here. She doesn't think so.
Who has been your favourite person to match up against?
Je sais pas.
So many options.
Ouais.
And finally, do you have a message for anyone at home?
Un message à mes parents, à Perrine, à Wannick. Ils m'ont toujours soutenu, ils ont toujours été là pour moi et je ne serais pas là sans eux. Et je vous aime fort, mon frère aussi, je vous aime.
Yeah. Ils n'ont pas besoin de traduction.
Yeah, it was for Perrine. Well, of course, and also Margot coming across back to this side for the French women. What caused you to return to play for France?
I don't know, it's a combination of things. The national anthem. No, I just had a great time with them 2 years ago, and I knew that we had what it took to beat the US this year, and I wanted to do that, so here we are.
Indeed, here we are. Well, thank you both so much for your time. Massive, massive congratulations. The first gold medal for a junior championship for the French nation. We are so proud up here in the booth.
Thank you.
Well, it's always nice to be a small part of ultimate history. This time it's the French women clutching a gold medal at the end of the tournament. But what an amazing USA under-20s women's team we have had. Maybe a little bit of a thing there with the French coq sportif winning the race between the parents in the suits, but that was a display of game management, Gigi. The power lines at the beginning really just made such a difference.
It was a game full of highlights, but France in the driver's seat, taking control and holding onto it.
Indeed, 2 breaks to the tally of the USA, but it was clear on the stats board, 6 for the French. They had the money, they had the zone, and they really just powered it all the way through. Well, the French women are your new under-20s champions here at the World Junior Ultimate Championships. Thank you to everybody who's been a part of it, but your final score, 10-15 France over the USA.